Hey guys, today we're talking turkey. Hey guys, Kira here from 50 Shades of Mom, back to talk turkey with you guys. But before we get into the actual food, let's talk about the actual day. How was your gobble day? Make sure you comment down below. Let me know how you spent your Thanksgiving and how it was. And I hope everyone had an amazing holiday and a super blessed day. I'm curious, did you guys go shopping? Did you go online? Did you do Black Friday shopping? So much I want to know from you guys because this is my favorite time of year, the hustle and bustle of the holidays. So I'm super curious to see how you spent yours. I actually spent mine in quite a bit of pain. I am super grateful. Speaking of blessed and feeling grateful, I am super grateful for the boys in my house because they really teamed up to help their mom out. My hip is feeling better, but now I'm having some issues with my neck and my shoulder. I couldn't even vlog like I wanted to for Thanksgiving because I couldn't hold the camera out in front of me because lifting my arm is an issue. So I stood there and kind of gave a direction inside the kitchen, but there is somewhat of an aftermath vlog coming out that you guys will get all the details of how I spent my Thanksgiving. But now I really want to talk turkey. So did you guys see my Trader Joe's haul? If not, I'll link it here above. But I bought a $40 turkey. What? I know that's craziness, right? I did not really mean to. I didn't really realize that it was 20 pounds. I thought when I was reading the label, it was $20, not 20 pounds, yada yada. I came home with a $40 20-pound turkey. So it was delicious, it was brined, and it was the first time I've ever had a turkey from Trader Joe's. It cooked perfectly. It didn't have a turkey timer, so I'm glad that I actually trusted myself to check it a little bit early than that 20 minutes per pound rule, because it probably still would have had to been in for another 2 hours if I had gone with that rule, and otherwise it was still perfectly to temperature. Luckily for me, at Five Guys where my husband works, it is a requirement for them to meat thermometer and test all of their meat. So my husband always has a digital thermometer on hand, and he tested all spots of the meat and said that everything was perfect. There was one spot that was coming up 160, and it should be 165, but by the time we let it rest onto the counter for about 30 minutes, it had come up to temperature where it should be. So it really was super delicious and very juicy. I wanted it to be very close to perfectly cooked and not overcooked because I was really wanting to see the difference of brining a turkey in its texture and moisture as opposed to you just basting it yourself. Turkey can get very dry if you are not watching it and basting it and nursing it. And I like to, little trick, I like to lift the skin. If you guys do not do that and you make your own turkey, if you detach the ligament of the skin to the meat and you slide your hand underneath, I put all pads of butter underneath the skin as well as on top of the skin. This way when the butter melts, it gets all into the skin and helps with the moisture. Again, I'm a butter girl, so butter on meat and stuff is always the way to go for me. So now that it's after Thanksgiving, we have this huge plate of turkey, and what are we gonna do with it all? So I know a lot of people wonder, what am I gonna do with all this turkey? So I'm here today to give you some advice because the aftermath of the turkey is always my favorite. So, 1, you can chop up all of your turkey and freeze portions of it, or use it right then and there for things like quesadillas and omelets. Turkey tastes pretty close to chicken, especially the white meat. So if you use the white meat inside of a quesadilla, you would really never know the difference, and it would be super delicious. We've done that before, and my kids still love it and eat it up. It's delicious. Or we dice it up and freeze the little portions of diced, and we use that in things like omelets. I know plenty of us do turkey, egg, and cheese as an omelet or something like that. Serves the same purpose, and I love that. And sometimes I'll portion them out and just freeze it. Freeze it in all different ways. Freeze the full slices so that I can pull it out later and use it as a hot open sandwich or even a cold sandwich, or we're going to talk about a few other ways we can pull it out of the freezer and use it in just a moment. But then I also freeze it in the diced portion. So sometimes I'll take little sandwich bags and I will take diced portions and separate them and stick them in there so I can just pull them out in a morning to use for eggs, or like I said, quesadillas, things like that. I have taken a gallon size bag and filled it with a bunch of little bags of portioned out pieces of turkey that I could just pull out to use for, like I said, things like omelets and quesadillas. Freezing is super helpful tip because cooked turkey freezes very, very well. So if you just want to repeat Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks from now when you guys are over it, you easily could whip up some fresh sides like mashed potato and stuffing and just pull out some already cooked turkey. Gravy freezes phenomenal. So all those things you could just defrost and reheat and bring Thanksgiving back to life in a couple of weeks when you guys are tired, when you're not tired of eating it anymore. So my next thing I would say is I love to make salads. So the cold part of the turkey is my favorite. I love that after sandwich. So usually we do the next day, a full day of hot leftovers, like Thanksgiving all over again, usually on Friday. But by Saturday, I'm like itching, and sometimes I can't even wait. And it still happens on that Friday after Thanksgiving where I make myself a sandwich. And I'm not talking like just a regular like turkey and mayo kind of sandwich. I like to layer my sandwiches and put things like a layer of turkey, then a layer of stuffing, then the cranberry sauce and some mayo on some toasty bread. And it is better than any hot Thanksgiving meal I have ever had, even when, God rest her soul, my grandma herself was cooking it. That sandwich to me is like the perfect complement of flavors, and it is like Thanksgiving in a sandwich by itself. And then you could just make turkey salad. My dad and I have always been so excited for the turkey salad after Thanksgiving. We pick apart the carcass, and I mean, that's something that you don't even have to use with the leftover meat of it. It's very hard to cut a turkey and get that close to the bone. So I usually can peel, I mean, turkey after turkey off of that carcass and be able to make a large thing of a turkey salad. So I make my turkey salad exactly pretty much to my chicken salad. So I'll link my chicken salad recipe up above if you guys want to check it out. Like I said, I do my turkey salad pretty close to the same thing, and I really love it. It's definitely another way to eat turkey. It doesn't taste like anything else that you were eating, not even eating that Thanksgiving more leftover sandwich. Even that doesn't taste anything like the turkey salad. The celery, the onions, the mayo, the salt and pepper, that kind of stuff, all of that just adds like a whole nother type of meal. So you guys can always do turkey salad with soup or something like that in the few days to come. Turkey salad will hold in the refrigerator for, I would say, at least 3 to 4 days before I would say like, I would start getting ready to toss that, but 3 to 4 days after you make it. So if you have turkey sitting in the fridge for 3 to 4 days and then you make turkey salad with it or pick the carcass apart, you can have a good week after Thanksgiving where you can still have that turkey salad. So you could space it apart if you don't really want to have all those elements of turkey, even if they taste so different, so close together. But again, turkey salad is my favorite part, especially when I was living in New York and I could have it on a egg everything bagel. Oh my goodness, so good. Nothing beats that Thanksgiving sandwich though, which takes me into my Thanksgiving leftover pie. So if you guys just recently ordered the cookbook that me, Nicole, and Vanessa put out, if you pre-ordered, then you got a fall themed cookbook sent to you via email. Now that was exclusive to those who only pre-ordered, and it wasn't a tangible printed book, it was only an e-version, but each one of us shared 3 recipes, and then there was a hashtag Team Rice Krispies recipe at the end. So it was 10 recipes total, and they were fall related. So what I came up with was the first time I had ever done this, and I did it for the cookbook purpose alone. That's why I was so excited about those pre-ordering, because I really wanted people to get this fall cookbook, because I was really proud of the things that we were able to put into it. I created a sandwich, a drink, and a pie, all for the purpose of this cookbook. So I really was excited with it, and this Thanksgiving leftover pie was basically just a derivative of that sandwich. So like I said, that's the thing I look forward to the most, stacking that turkey and that stuffing and that mayo and the cranberry sauce. And I was like, how am I going to turn this into a pie? And I thought, how great would that be to find a way to empty your fridge with leftovers and make a pie that you could either have for dinner or you could easily freeze and have later on. So here's what I did. I'm going to end up sharing this with you guys, popping a picture up so you can see. But I just baked off a pie shell in the oven for like 9 to 10 minutes because you're only heating up the things you're going to put inside. You don't really need to bake the pie once you're putting it together because it's leftover, so it's already cooked. So once I got it inside, I actually took a little bit of gravy just to moisten the bottom, and then I put mashed potatoes, and then I put a layer of gravy, and then I put turkey, and then I put a layer of gravy, and then I put stuffing, and then I put a layer of gravy. Then I took my leftover green bean casserole and I put that on top, and I took fresh of those fried onions and I put that all on top, and then I baked it in the oven until everything was hot through and through. And then I took cranberry sauce and mayo and I squished the cranberry sauce. I only had the jelly kind, so I hadn't made the fresh kind yet. It wasn't Thanksgiving. I was just playing with flavors for the cookbook. And so I bought the jelly kind and I like squished it as much as I could get it together, and I mixed mayo in with it. And then I used it in a piping bag and I just kind of laced it across the top of the pie. I was a little nervous about sharing it at first. I called Vanessa and I was like, this does not look appetizing. So I was a little worried about sharing it, but a little piece of advice, or a little tidbit of information, I should say. I ate the whole thing. I ate a piece. Like, I cut a piece to show when I was photographing the pictures for the cookbook. I cut a slice into it. And so I ate that slice and I couldn't believe how good it was. The pie crust added like a little sweet element with the cranberry sauce and the mayo, and then coupled with the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the stuffing and the green bean casserole, like all in one bite. It was Thanksgiving. Just all the feels of Thanksgiving was right there in this pie plate, and I couldn't believe how good it was. I ate the whole piece. I texted the girls and I was like, all right, I guess it doesn't really matter what it looks like. This was amazing, super bomb, loved it. So glad I came up with it. Definitely sharing this in the book. So I was really excited, and then I came back a couple of hours later and I ate another wedge. I had cut it in 4s, and so now there was half the pie gone. And then I came back the next day, and I throughout the day had finished off the other half of it, and it pretty much was only the portion of what I probably would have eaten if I had had a Thanksgiving dinner each day, but I couldn't get over how good it was in a pie shell. So I would definitely check that out. It is super delicious and definitely probably one of my favorite creations. While we're on the topic of pies, you also could do pot pies. Now, I actually do have my chicken pot pie recipe in the actual cookbook, and I started those for the first time ever. I had never made a pot pie before Christmas time last year, and I was getting ready to travel home, and I wanted Daryl to have like a bunch of meals in the freezer for him to be able to eat, you know, yummy, delicious, hearty meals while I was gone for Christmas. And I made pot pies for the first time, and my husband said never buy Marie Collander's again, like yours blew that away. So, and I agreed with him. So we've made pot pies many of times after that, and I've tweaked them, and I've done beef now and turkey. So using this for the turkey pot pies, which is again something else you could use with those freezed portions. If you froze some portions, you can pull them out, make a turkey pot pie out of it, and then freeze the whole pie or just eat that. So another idea that you can do with your turkey is after you've picked this thing to the bone and there's no more meat on it, then I'm all about what you can do with the carcass. So I love to boil the carcass and get my own broth out of it, and then use that broth to make soup, or I'll freeze the broth if I'm not going to use it at that moment. And anytime I need some kind of chicken or turkey stock or something like that, then I just defrost those from the freezer as opposed to buying a container of stock. When you make the stock, it's just like making chicken stock, so it works out perfect if you need chicken instead. But I love making soup with my carcass. I just literally drop the carcass in a pot of boiling water and let it do its thing. I don't do anything else. If you just place it in there with all of it, like all of your seasonings, all of your, it's done. It's been seasoned and stuff. So if there's any skin, I take everything, every ounce of bone, everything, because you're going to strain it when you're done anyway. So I take every garbage piece of turkey that I have left, a whole wing. Like if nobody eats the wing, I love the leg. I'm a dark meat person, but the wing doesn't have a whole lot of meat in it. I usually save the wings just for the purpose of the broth, so it actually puts a little meat and hardiness into the liquid when it's boiling off. It gets all the flavor of the skin and everything, and I just put it on a low simmer for like a long time. And then after I see that the color has changed from clear water, and you can tell that it's like a thick color, like a murky color, very brown or yellow in texture, similar to broth. Once you see that it's like that, I actually crank the heat up and I boil it so that it boils back down, so that it's like concentrated. And once you're boiled like about half, I usually make sure the carcass is covered with water, and once I've boiled it down to half, even like a third, is when I kick the heat off. I let everything cool. It's so much easier to handle everything when it's cool. And then I put a strainer onto a bowl in the sink, and I pour that pot through, and then I make sure that there's no bones in that broth. And then I'll go through, I'll take any good solid meat that's on there and toss it into the broth and stuff, so that when I make a soup with it, then it still has, like I said, like meaty hardiness to it. And then it's very simple. I have a very simple chicken soup recipe which works for turkey soup as well, so I'll link it in the description box. I don't have a video on it. I should make one just because it is so super easy, but really it's the holy trilogy, you guys. Celery, onion, and carrots make a delicious soup. And if you'd like to take it like that little bit of elevation and you want to do more of a Jewish soup, which is what I love, like when you add matzo balls, you can add more like soup greens where you add like turnips and parsnip, and it actually just elevates that soup into that like matzo ball soup flavor. All those combinations are so good and so super delicious. It is really not that difficult to turn a carcass into a soup, but definitely one of my favorite things to do with a turkey. But then the last thing that I would say would definitely be perfect for your Thanksgiving is donating. If you guys have full pies and loaves of bread and things like that, there are always churches and soup kitchens all around. I actually put out, and I'm not the only one, a bunch of people did that. We have a little internet board, like it's called Nextdoor. There's even an app, and all of your neighborhoods can connect on it. This way, if there's like something going on in the neighborhood or whatever, you can communicate with your neighbors on this app. And so I even put out there if there was anybody that was in the neighborhood that wasn't celebrating Thanksgiving, or if there was an elderly person that was by themselves that didn't cook for themselves, I would be more than happy to send over a plate with them or a Tupperware or feed somebody, because there's always somebody out there who's less fortunate than we that could have used a hot cooked meal. And we had so much food, I would have been more than happy to share. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure there are plenty of local places, even if not this year, for you to check out over the course of this next year, so that next year you're more prepared to donate somewhere if you need to. But I'm sure there are always places in the community that could use some leftovers, a hot cooked meal, a pie, anything. So definitely check those out. And like, again, I'm sure one donation will make somebody's day. Okay guys, so that's it. That's all I have for you for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the suggestions that I had for what you could do with your Thanksgiving turkey. A lot of people asked me, like, what are you going to do with this large turkey for just the family of 5 that you were feeding? And a lot of people said, like, oh, you mentioned soup. How do you make a soup? Like, so many questions I got on what I was going to do with all this turkey, that I thought, what better way than just to sit down with a video and show you guys some examples on some of the things that I do. So thank you guys again so much for watching and always sticking with me. I hope you had a fabulous Thanksgiving. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.